Hey, it's Maya here. I'm a brand and show it website designer for creative entrepreneurs, and today I want to share with you 7 practical work from home tips to help you stay focused and be more productive. I've been working from home now for several years, since before the pandemic even started, and I really love it, but I also know that it can be kind of challenging at times. So the tips that I'm going to share with you are things that help me. I don't do all of these things all the time, but I try to at least do most of them every week, and they really made a difference in my productivity and helping me get more things done. I am an online business owner. I'm a website designer. So these tips are geared towards creative entrepreneurs, but if you work from home in a different type of full-time job, then you'll still be able to use most of these tips too. And one more thing before we dive in, I just wanted to remind you to give yourself grace. I think we get so focused on the idea of I need to be more productive, I need to get more things done, and then we beat ourselves up if we don't get everything done that was on our to-do list in a day. But we're all human, we're not perfect, and sometimes the day isn't going to go how you planned it. So just take these tips that I'm about to share with a grain of salt and adjust them to make them work better for you if you need. And just remember that it's okay to not be super duper productive all the time, and that life's not all about what's on the to-do list. With that said, I do share design, productivity, and other business tips for creative entrepreneurs on this channel every Tuesday and Friday. Be sure to hit subscribe and ring the bell to be notified every time I post a new video if that sounds like something you're interested in. And now let's go ahead and get into the good stuff. My first tip is to establish a morning routine. This is something that I need to get better at doing in my own life, but I found that one of the areas that I struggle in is, getting up in the morning and maybe spending too much time on breakfast and, doing things around the house before I even get to my work. So if that's something that you struggle with too, then having a routine might help you. When you have a routine, this will help you know your priorities ahead of time and kind of get into a rhythm, so that every morning you wake up and you know what to do next, so that you're not wasting a lot of time trying to decide what to do. And one thing that I have done before that's been really helpful is have some sort of breakfast ready the night before, whether it's overnight oats that are sitting in the fridge, or maybe I've made banana bread muffins and I can just pull one out and have breakfast instead of having to cook a whole breakfast every single morning, especially if I know I'm about to have a super busy day and I need to get a jump start on my work. Having breakfast ready to go and prepared the night before has been awesome. You might also want to consider in your routine deciding on a specific time that you're going to wake up every morning. I know when you're working from home, it can be pretty easy to just, want to sleep as late as you want to if you don't have any reason to get up earlier, if you don't have kids to take to school or that sort of thing. But if you can decide on a time that you want to get up every morning, and then I think that will really help your morning routine and help you get up and get going in the morning. I know for me, I have a puppy, and so once we brought her home, she was waking me up in the morning and letting me know that she was ready to go potty. And so we just got into a rhythm that as soon as she wakes me up every morning, it's time to get up. She wakes me up around the same time every day, so I joke that my new alarm clock is my puppy. But that kind of helped me get into a rhythm where I know we're getting up around the same time every day. But if you don't have that, then you could definitely just pick a time and start setting your alarm clock. So tip number 2 is to have a to-do list and know what your priorities are for each day. I used to use a planner called the Day Designer, and for each day it had a top 3 priorities, and I actually use a digital task management system called ClickUp to manage my to-do list right now, but I still like having that idea of knowing what your top 3 priorities are. And so if you struggle with deciding what to do first, maybe that's something that will help you. You can write your to-do list and your priorities in a paper planner, on a scratch piece of paper, on the notes section of your phone, whatever works for you. Like I said, I use a project management system, and if you've never used one before, I think Trello is a great one to start with, and I have a tutorial on this channel on how to get started using Trello if you're interested in that. But like I mentioned, I use ClickUp, and if you want to know more about Trello versus ClickUp, I have a video on that as well. Okay, so this third tip that I'm about to share was really a game changer for me in my business. Once you have your to-do list, take things a step further by using a calendar to create a schedule for yourself so that you know when you'll actually get things done. I don't know if you can relate, but I can be guilty of creating this mile-long to-do list where I'm trying to do a zillion things in a day and I don't actually have time for all of it. So having a calendar and really planning out when I'll do each task and how long it will take me to do each task really helped me to be intentional about how I was spending my days and helped me make sure that I wasn't overbooking myself. I like to create this calendar or the schedule in a Google Calendar, but you could also do this on a paper calendar or the calendar on your iPhone or your Mac, whatever works for you. I did a video on how I plan my week using ClickUp and Google Calendar if you want to learn more about how that works. And this idea actually wasn't mine. I got it from Elizabeth McCravey. She's another really awesome short website designer, and she did a podcast episode on how she plans her week on a calendar, and I just wanted to share it with you because once I heard that from her, I started doing it in my business, and it was just so helpful in how I manage my time. Alright, so let's move on to the fourth tip, and that is to have a dedicated inbox time. This was another thing that was really a game changer for me in my business. I used to have notifications on my phone every time I got a new email, and as I was working, every time one came in, I would open it, read it, respond, and it was just, distracting me, so I was constantly losing my focus. What I started doing instead is that I now have dedicated inbox time at the beginning of every workday and at the end of every workday. And if I'm having a super busy day or I'm waiting on a really important email from a client, then I'll probably check it at lunchtime as well, just to see if they've gotten back to me, or I might check it sooner if we're, trying to hit a deadline. But most of the time I'll check it in the morning and in the evening. And I recently took this a step further by taking email notifications off my phone so that I wouldn't be tempted to look at it every time I got a new email. And I was actually really scared to do this, to be honest, because I thought I might miss something important. But to be honest, I've been doing it for a couple of weeks and I haven't missed anything urgent to the point where, I needed that email right then. Like I said, if I know I'm waiting on something for an important deadline, I'll probably check my inbox on my computer more often. It's raining and cloudy outside today, and I just realized that it got darker in here, so sorry about that. But we're almost done. Let's go ahead with tip number 5, and that's don't forget to take breaks and to make time for meals like breakfast and lunch. And that might seem silly, but if you're scheduling out your day like I recommended earlier, it's easy to add in all your tasks back to back, but I do recommend leaving some space in between them and giving yourself a real lunch break because you deserve it. It's important. And I know it's easy to want to work, especially when you're trying to be more productive, but the truth is that breaks are actually your friend. If you're feeling really frustrated, really tired, really distracted, it's okay to get up, step away from your computer or whatever you're working on, and come back later. Sometimes my breaks are only 5, 10, 15 minutes, but they really help me just refresh. Okay, tip number 6. Now this one might seem a little silly, but it really has been helpful to me, and that is to not have the TV on while you're working during the day. Now this really comes down to personal preference, but I thought that I wasn't getting that distracted by the TV. I used to have it on in the background every day, even if it was just something like HGTV or Food Network. But the truth is, once I started working with the TV off, I realized how distracted I was getting, even if it was just glancing up every now and then. And it might be weird for you to work in silence if you've never done that before, but I really do enjoy it now and I can focus better. But if you do need some sort of background noise. I recommend listening to music instead of watching the TV, just to help you keep your eyes on your work. Or if you really want to have the TV on, I recommend not watching anything new. So it's really tempting to just turn on Netflix and see that something new is out, but when you're watching something that you've never seen before, you are more likely to drift those eyes onto the TV to keep up with the story. But if it's something that you've seen before, you'll be more likely to just tune it into the background. So I know that might seem silly, but it helped me, and just give it a try if you have been working with the TV on, and see if it makes a difference for you. It might not. Okay, our last tip number 7, and that is to stop doing any unnecessary tasks and to create workflows for tasks that you do over and over again. Now that might seem complicated, but it's actually pretty simple. You can write out what you're doing each day on a sheet of paper and time it using the stopwatch app on your phone to see how long certain tasks are taking you. Or you can use a free app like Toggl. They have a desktop app that I use to track your time throughout the day, and you can really see what tasks are taking up the most of your time, and if there's anything that you're doing that you really don't need to be doing that you can cut out of your weekly to-do list. Because so often, we want to be more productive, or we feel like we don't have enough time, when the truth is that we might be spending time on things that we don't really need to be doing when we could be focusing on something else. So I recommend that you start tracking your time and just being mindful of how long certain tasks take you, and if there's anything that isn't really helping you move your business forward that you can cut out. This is not something that I do all the time, but when I am feeling like I really don't have enough time for everything, or like I just don't know where all the time went at the end of the day and I didn't get what I needed to done, I'll usually start tracking my time and try to figure out what's going on. This can also be helpful if you're thinking about grouping certain themes of tasks into certain days of the week, and I talk about that in my video on how I plan my week using Google Calendar. And I mentioned creating workflows, and this can be as simple as outlining the steps in a process that you have to do over and over again, and this will just help you be more productive in that you don't have to decide how to do it and what to do next every time you're doing it. You can just keep following the same process, and it will get easier and easier for you, and you'll probably memorize the process. And you can write down your processes or your workflows inside of a project management system like Trello or ClickUp, or you could just write them in the back of your planner and refer to those. And something that can also help with this is having templates ready to go, like maybe having email templates for replying to common things that you do often, like customer support or client inquiries. Just a few things to think about to help you work smarter and not harder. I talk a little bit more about creating workflows in my video on how to use Trello, and I'll put a link to that in the description below. So there you go, 7 practical tips for being more productive and staying focused when you're working from home. I hope you found them helpful, and if you're interested in learning Trello as a project management system, I have a mini course called Trello for Creatives that's meant to help creative business owners learn Trello and get started organizing your business. I'll put a link to that in the description below. It covers some of the trainings that are in my free video on how to use Trello, but it takes things a step further by providing you with templates that you can copy and paste, and also covering a few topics that I didn't cover here on YouTube. So again, if you're interested in the Trello mini course, it's just $27, and I'll put a link in the description below. Alright, so that's all I have to share with you for now. Be sure to comment below and let me know which of these tips was your favorite, and I'd also love it if you subscribed and gave this video a thumbs up if you found it helpful. Take care, and I'll talk with you again soon.